Welcome to Illuminati Silver. We tell it the truth about silver. Today is Monday, the 14th of September 2020, and yesterday we published a video entitled Lower Oil Prices Ahead, Impact on Precious Metals. And of course on Saturday our weekly gold and silver update. Now we pointed out yesterday the potential effects that a fall in oil price could have on the price of gold and silver, and how, subject to a meeting later this week of the OPEC Group, oil prices, or should I say cartel, oil prices could potentially fall even further. We also pointed out the continuing weakening of the US dollar, and it has fallen again today, though equity markets in the US are currently up between 1 and 2%, though they were pretty flat in the UK and Europe as a whole. We also have interesting data being published later this week, but all eyes will of course be on the Fed FOMC announcement on interest rates and stimulus measures or QE on Wednesday. Now we shall read an up-to-date report, they're very short, from both Bloomberg and Reuters, which has been published literally within the last hour or so. Bloomberg article dated September 14th, 2020 at 6:58 p.m. GMT +1. Headline: Stocks gain amid deals optimism. Dollar weakens. US stocks touched a more than 1 week high amid a flurry of deal activity and signs of progress towards a coronavirus vaccine. The dollar weakened and treasuries were little changed. Oracle Corp jumped as much as 7.9% on reports the company beat Microsoft Corp in negotiations for the US operations of TikTok. Immunomedics Inc. doubled after Gilead Sciences Inc. agreed to buy the cancer drug maker for $21 billion. The S&P 500 increased as much as 1.9% before pairing gains, while the Nasdaq 100 index broke a two-day slide. Pfizer Inc. Chief Executive Officer Albert Bourla said it's likely the US will deploy a COVID-19 vaccine to the public before year-end. Stocks at current levels remain vulnerable to catalysts that might surface near term. John Stoltzfus, chief investment strategist at Oppenheimer & Co., wrote to clients. Global stocks are coming off the back of the first consecutive weeks of decline since March, and traders remain on edge given the recent reassessment of valuations and volatility in options markets. The Federal Reserve is expected this week to maintain its dovish stance on policy as investors look for signs the global economy is recovering from the pandemic. Strategists at Goldman Sachs Group Inc. and Deutsche Bank AG suggested the recent pullback in the US is nearing an end. The path of least resistance is up, said Kevin Caron, portfolio manager for Washington Crossing. We still have a lot of monetary stimulus in the pipeline. There's still a decent amount of momentum in the market. The underlying data in earnings seems to be reasonably positive. The pound strengthened against peers as Prime Minister Boris Johnson faced a rebellion in Parliament against legislation that would override key elements of the divorce treaty signed with the European Union. In Asia, stocks rallied with South Korea leading gains. SoftBank Group Corp shares climbed after Nvidia Corp agreed to buy the firm's chip division ARM Limited for $40 billion. Here are some of the key events coming up. China industrial production and retail sales data is due on Tuesday. Wednesday sees the FOMC policy decision and news conference from Chair Jerome Powell. Bank of Japan, Bank of Indonesia and Bank of England policy decisions come Thursday, and Friday sees quadruple witching for US markets when the quarterly expiration of futures and options on indices and stocks happens on the same day. End of article. Reuters article dated September 14th, 2020 by Subita Layak. Gold jumped 1% on Monday as the dollar weakened, while expectations around the United States Federal Reserve maintaining its dovish monetary policy this week further boosted the safe haven metal's allure. Spot gold rose 0.7% to $1,954 per ounce by 1:55 p.m. EDT. US gold futures settled at up 0.8% at $1,963. Gold is rising as the dollar is under quite a bit of pressure. We also saw Steven Mnuchin indicating that they want some kind of fiscal stimulus deal done, so that would further weaken the dollar, said Philip Streibel, chief market strategist at Blue Line Futures in Chicago. The dollar fell 0.3% against rivals, bolstering gold's appeal for investors holding other currencies. US Treasury Secretary Mnuchin said there still could be a deal with the US Congress for more federal coronavirus-related aid. Bullion has risen 29% this year, prompted by massive stimulus from global central banks to combat the impact of the coronavirus pandemic. Investors are now eyeing the Fed's policy decision due on Wednesday. The Fed is expected to maintain the target rate of inflation. We're going to run 2% for some time, and they will increase quantitative easing. So gold should remain supported on that, Streibel said. Market participants are also awaiting the Bank of Japan and Bank of England policy decisions due on Thursday. Meanwhile, the European Union ramped up pressure on Prime Minister Boris Johnson to step back from breaking the Brexit divorce treaty. Gold will continue to move higher on political uncertainties in the United States, Brexit, and overall weak economic conditions in the world, said Jeffrey Christian, managing partner of CPM Group. Silver rose 1.6% to $27.16 per ounce. Platinum gained 2.7% to $950 per ounce, while palladium shed 0.7% to $2,304 per ounce. End of article. Interesting, though not necessarily very exciting movements. On the political front, billionaire Michael Bloomberg has pledged to give the Democrats $100 million, that is, to fight the election just in Florida, where Biden is currently trailing President Trump, or it's at least too close for comfort for either of them, and is seen as an essential state for both parties to win. UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson is currently in the House of Commons attempting to get his bill passed, which affects the terms of our Brexit withdrawal, which unfortunately for him, 5 former British Prime Ministers are claiming is illegal. In international terms, what he's proposing actually breaks international law. And we shall hopefully know this evening what the outcome of that debate is about. And COVID-19 cases have now surpassed 29,370,000 worldwide. Well, the time now is 1956 GMT plus 1, and we can see that gold is standing at $1,956 and silver at $27.19, with Bitcoin falling another $116 today. Now, we are expecting some positive moves for gold and silver this week, though likely to be contained within the parameters we set out on Saturday. But of course there is obviously the possibility of new information coming out which could have an impact on markets in either direction. And of course Wednesday, in our view, will have the largest impact. Now it's interesting to note though that a number of bodies are now suggesting a vaccine for COVID-19 is quite possible towards the end of this year. And of course, once that, or if that is then confirmed, that will most certainly buoy equity markets. But we shall have to wait and see. Meanwhile, do share your thoughts, tell us what you think, and thank you so much for listening. And if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to our channel and press the bell sign so that you're notified of our videos as and when they are published. We hope you have found this video interesting and informative, and if so, please give it a thumbs up and share it on social media. Please ensure that you have subscribed to our channel and press the bell sign so that you are notified of any future videos. Also, kindly visit our website at illuminatisilver.com, and if you haven't already done so, please subscribe either as a free or paying member for regular email updates and offers. Disclaimer: Illuminati Silver owners come from a background of banking, international wealth management and economics. Having now retired from these worlds, we are not qualified to give investment investment advice. Therefore, this and other productions must not be deemed to be giving such advice and merely represent the personal views of its owners.